Speaking of draft, I think we hold on to talk about Dan Heinen and the Virtanen rumors until something solidifies and we have Daniel for the Ducks point of view.
Yeah.
So the draft, this has sort of been a story that's been in the background when it comes to this year. The NHL draft, teams have been lobbying to move the draft. It's supposed to be in July, I believe. So then they can get a real opportunity to scout some young prospects. Now, I got some stuff written down here. When it comes to the CHL, for example, this is the situation, because if you look at like the NCAA, they've been doing really, really well. But, and the CHL is pretty important. The Q has been stopped all year. The Ontario Hockey League doesn't have anything yet. Apparently, they're looking to do 24 games in April and May, according to Freeman and 3-1 Thoughts.
Sure.
The WHL started 2 days ago.
Yeah.
The idea of having 2 drafts have been thrown around, but there's a lot of roadblocks in the form of rights retention. So having a certain amount of time under you for like your right for arbitration, the age of certain players being able to, or in this case, they would lose their ability to re-enter the draft. It's kind of complicated, but the question stems from there, Alex, is what do the NHL do if they do anything? Because the league itself is not keen on this idea, is the word on the Twitter.
Yeah. I wrote down 3 options here from what I've read. Number 1, keep it in July.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just leaving absolutely little to no time to see this year's crop of prospects in the CHL play. The second option is obviously move the draft to December, which I think many teams are very happy with. So obviously gives the teams more time to watch the prospects, and it'd be interesting. Like it'd be at the beginning, a quarter of the way point for next season, hoping that the CHL and those other leagues would start again in October. And the third option is just moving the 2021 draft to next July and then having that draft, and then a few days later having the 2022 draft. What I read is that the teams would not be so fond of that because they don't want to deal with 2 draft classes at once. For me, I really like that second option. I think there's something that could be done there with December. Like, first off, it works for the teams. Mm-hmm. I know the league and the PA still have to deal with their legal stuff, and moving that aside, I guess, because that's just a pain to deal with. I still think that December option works best. It'd be interesting to see how the NHL would place that in there in the middle of a season and advertise around it.
I wonder if the marketing would have to be a big part of this, which the NHL is not fantastic at.
What? No way.
No. Did you know there was a game in Lake Tahoe? No, because the only reason you knew is because people were complaining about it on Twitter. So I wonder if, and normally the All-Star game is in end of January. If you manipulate the schedule a bit, and, because obviously the Olympics are still a big question mark, but what if you had like a super fun weekend? Where you did like the draft, one part of it, like maybe a Friday, Saturday, or like morning Saturday, and in the afternoon you like shift to like the skills competition for the draft, and then Sunday is your whatever stupid game thing. I think there's potential there to have a super weekend. Like knowing the NHL, probably not, and nothing changes, but there is room for creativity. I really like that second option too. There's potential there.
I think you make a good point there. I don't think TV wise anyone's ever interested in the All-Star game. And I think if you combine it with the draft, I think a lot of people sometimes, especially the first round, enjoy watching the draft as long as it's not what it was this year. Mm-hmm. Just the regular draft where they're sitting at this year was little over the top. But yeah, like I think combining it with the All-Star game could do something. Now, you're right. The question is the Olympics, because I don't think they have an All-Star game if there's the Olympics. That's, I think, the precedent in the past. But I do like that idea. It'd blow many minds. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You should call the NHL.
Yeah, but then Gary's going to be like, there's no, he just shuts it down. Gary You do anything that's sort of fun. Like, Gary, how about this? How about we just have wins and losses and we forget about the pity point? And he's like, no, he's just, there's no discussion. I think that 31 Thoughts interview when Elliot tried to ask him about the playoff formats, and like Elliot tried to just like, let's entertain the idea.
No.
And Gary just like, no, there's no discussion, because like I
No
get it,
fun.
because in the moment you start entertaining it, the owners and that, but it's just like, Gary, can you just Bill Daly at least can have a bit of fun, like he has only Tim and Sid in that, but Gary just can't. I get it. Just have a bit of fun, Gary. Just a little bit of fun.